Orcas in Alaska come to say hi.
Oh, dude.
Whoa, dude. Mouth shot. Oh my god, you guys. Whoa. Oh my god.
It's like in the great stories, Mr. Frodo, the ones that really mattered, full of darkness and danger they were. And sometimes you didn't want to know the end, because how could the end be happy? How could the world go back to the way it was when so much bad had happened? But in the end, it's only a passing thing, this shadow. Even darkness must pass. A new day will come, and when the sun shines, it will shine out the clearer. Those were the stories that stayed with you, that meant something, even if you were too small to understand why. But I think, Mr. Frodo, I do understand. I know now. Folk in those stories had lots of chances of turning back, only they didn't. They kept going, because they were holding on to something. That there is some good in this world, and it's worth fighting for.
Hello, my beauties and bees. Welcome to HiveSci. It is Saturday morning, 9:30 a.m., and we are live from the Hive, or 10:30 a.m., depending on where you are. And actually, it's more like 20 till now because I have some long intro stuff to get through. This is my Pride special. This one's going to be the prideiest Pride you can see. I had the bad audio playing over the beginning of that video, but it didn't. It was just cut over the short part about the rainbow, but that's all right. I hope that you enjoyed the cut that there at the end of me and Ring. That's Ring talking, and that's me playing my tin whistle, which I hadn't picked up in years. So I haven't played tin whistle in years. I play strings mostly. I play guitar, mandolin, banjo, that sort of stuff. Second to that, I play harmonica most of the time. But tin whistle's always been near and dear to my heart because I'm a fantasy nerd, right? I like hobbits and stuff. So that was me playing Concerning Hobbits over what Ring was reading there. And the playing that actually inspired me to get a new set of tin whistles. I'm rusty as hell, but yeah, I have some gorgeous wood grain tin whistles. They aren't expensive. They play just like a recorder, finger just like a recorder, so they're that's the beginning of the Hobbit song. But yeah, I haven't played in years, but that made me want to learn to play more stuff and to pick it back up again because it's something to help keep my brain functioning and learning new stuff. So, mwah. All right. So thank you for that, Ring. I also have something else to address. People always wonder why I sit off center. It's because I want people to see my bugs. I set myself up so that my bugs can be part of the show too, and also I have some background stuff. But I got my Mothman poster hung up. It did fit. I was worried about that. I talked about that last week, so that's it. And also there was this when I was this has been like 2014. I did this workout routine. It's called the 28-day fix. Every 3 months, to keep myself in shape. And I gave it up because there was an injury with the people I was doing it with. We'll just say that, and then I put it on the back burner. And sorry, I was reading the chat. Anyway, the video always had this thing at the end where these people would get just these rubber nunchucks, and there was this workout routine that they do. So I'm going to try to find that. I got the nunchucks for it. I can't find a free version of it though. I can only find the paid version, but I want to do workout routine with nunchucks because it looks like so much fun watching them do it. And they're pretty heavy. You get a good workout out of them. Anyway, yeah. So that's what I've been up to. I got recorders and tin whistles and nunchucks. So aren't you guys jealous? If you like butterflies and moths, there's a couple of games where you can build habitats and collect and grow various species. They're cute. They're called Flutter and Starlight. Yeah. No, you're perfectly welcome, Ring, for doing that video. Yes, indeed. And I guess that before I get into Cryptic Corner, I just want to talk about orcas for a second. So, for about when do we hit the sea with gunboats? Probably about the 12th century. Since about the 12th century, whales have known to fear us, and we kill them on sight. Humans are very vicious and very scared of whales getting close to them and such. So for a long time, whales were terrified of us, right? And then here in the last 100 years or so, we've started trying to study them and follow them and kidnap their babies and put them in our marine parks. Kidnap them or take them aboard to weigh them and stuff. I mean, it's been a scary situation for them, and they don't like that. So now they want to protect themselves from humans, and I don't blame them. That they're sinking billionaire boats, are they socialist? Maybe there's some socialist workers, and they're saying eat the rich. Maybe they're sinking submarines that are going down to visit the Titanic too. I don't know. As far as the people in the submarine go, though, I'm just gonna say that if you trust a guy who says I built this and shows you that he's got it controlled with a Super Nintendo controller, right? And you're gonna trust that, then you are taking your own life in your hands at that point. The only person I feel bad for is the 19-year-old who I don't know if they were, because they were scared to go down. I wouldn't have wanted to go down. I mean, good grief. Yeah, I'm going to knock myself out a few times with my nunchucks too. Yeah, there's places where you can swim with the native dolphins, and they're friendly and stuff. I wouldn't mind doing that. I want to go. My ultimate life goal is to go snorkeling off the Galapagos. That's what I would love to be able to do at some point in my life, is just snorkel off the Galapagos, or I obviously anywhere in the Caribbean to go snorkeling. The Great Barrier Reef in Australia. I'd love to do some Greek snorkeling off of the Greek islands and some of those beautiful reefs they have down there in the Mediterranean. Yeah, lots of good stuff that I could potentially be able to dive into. But speaking of diving into, let's dive right in to Cryptic Corner. I'll see you guys over there. Hello, my beauties and bees. Welcome to Cryptic Corner, where we explore the unexplained, the supernatural, the paranormal and hidden, the mysterious, the alien, the accursed, and the forbidden. Thank you for joining me tonight as we explore another little dark recess of American folklore. I hope you all are in for a wild ride. I hope you have your wolf's bane on hand, because we are tackling a werewolf today. So if you've never tackled a werewolf before, you got to make sure that she doesn't scratch or bite you, because that's how it spreads. Now, when we talk about werewolves in the United States, generally we think of like cinema, like the Wolfman is what comes to mind. Lon Channing Jr. transforming in black and white stop motion effect, or you think of the American Werewolf in London film, where they did the painful transformation scene towards the end before the climactic gunning down of the beast. Also, you have I grew up with a movie called Monster Squad that was about a group of kids who fought Dracula and his minions. So there was a Wolfman transformation scene in a phone booth that, like, I always thought was amazingly done. It still holds up. I've watched that movie recently. If you haven't ever watched Monster Squad and you like cheesy popcorn monster movies, go watch that. It's like the Goonies meet the Universal monsters. There's Frankenstein, Wolfman, Creature from the Black Lagoon, and the Mummy, and other vampires, and it's a really wild ride. But the werewolf done in that movie is well done. But when we think of werewolves, we think of a person transforming. Now, when it comes to the creature we're looking at tonight, it's not one that transforms per se, but one that was reported to resemble what we generally think of as a werewolf. And its sensationalism in mainstream media can be owed to just this single creature. It's had a few names before it fell into being named specifically the Beast of Bray Road. But the main proponent of it was this person, Miss Linda Godfrey. And she has passed away at the age of 71 in December of, let's see, where was that at? Yeah, Linda Godfrey, the author who gained fame after writing about the legendary Beast of Bray Road in 1991 in Walworth County Weekly newspaper, has died at the age of 71. A visitation will be conducted at funeral home December 2nd, 2022. So she died in November of last year. Sorry, I thought it was December, but the funeral stuff was in December. Anyway, so she brought the Beast of Bray Road to the forefront with her writings. So we're going to explore that article a little bit. And it was put out in memory of her on the 29th of December. I did read this when it came out, but I didn't have a place for it at the time. So we're going to start right here. The monster or mirage, the sighting sounds like something out of Believe It or Not by Linda Godfrey this week. Clap for the Wolfman was a song some people might remember from the 70s. It was sort of a self-promotion for the famous bearded DJ Wolfman Jack, but people around parts of rural Elkhorn were clapping for what they say looks like a real Wolfman, one that doesn't play records. All right, so the rumors floated around town for 2 years or so before I heard them. A wolfish-looking creature that ran on 2 legs and had been seen around the Bray Road area, stealing chickens, eating roadkill, and scaring the daylights out of locals who sometimes literally ran into it. Yep, you can read all her columns. So this is all still available to read through. These are the original reports over a period of time in the 90s. Although the stories seemed like grist for the National Enquirer mill, they were consistent enough to be intriguing. A certain number of people, good, honest, working folk, had seen something unusual, something scary, something hairy that relished pavement patties for dinner. Pavement patties being the euphemism for roadkill, because that's where this creature is most famously cited, is hovering over roadkill on the side of the road. Yeah. The logical place to start was the county humane officer, John Fredrickson. It turned out Fredrickson has a manila folder in his file marked werewolf, filled with note cards detailing 6 or 7 such sightings. One referred to unusual tracks, another to a hairy, pointed-eared creature seen chasing down deer on 2 legs. Chasing down deer is quite the feat for an animal, for a biped, for sure. Another described a Burger King employee who saw a man-like creature running in mid-November. The employee allegedly said he could not believe what a fast and powerful runner the thing was. Fredrickson's best guess is that the mysterious beast is actually a coyote or even a wolf, but both of which have been officially reported in the area. So there are wolves and coyotes in the area, but neither one of them tend to run on 2 legs. I need to cough. Alrighty. And yeah, neither one of them run on 2 legs. Bears may be in the area running on 2 legs, but yeah, that's a whole different bag of worms. There are at least 2 people, however, who would disagree with Fredrickson. I found out about them through the grapevine, and both agreed to tell me their version of what they saw. I'll call them Barbara and Pat, since both were reluctant to go public with their real names for understandable reasons. It seems society is less than kind to people who claim to have seen werewolves. A tow woman, the tow, I guess that's supposed to be the 2, it says tow, but that's alright. The 2 women are unrelated, but both saw the creature on different parts of Bray Road in the evening hours. Barbara is a working mother at age 26, and Pat is a high school student, and both are entirely serious about what they saw. Here are their stories in their own words. We're going to start with Barbara, okay? We're going to start with Barbara. And Barbara. I was driving home one night on Bray Road, and I saw this thing on the side of the road. As I came up to it in my car, its back was to me, and I saw that it had ears and the whole bit. It was kneeling. Its elbows were up, and its claws were facing out, so I knew it had claws. I remember the long claws. Yeah, them claws stuck in her mind, I guess. And it was eating roadkill or something. And as I drove by and I saw all this, it looked right at me and didn't run. It didn't get spooked or anything. It had like glowing eyes, and which probably were reflections of my headlights. It was right on Bray Road, right before the Bray farm on the curve, and I saw it. He was brownish gray and had big teeth and fangs, and it looked at me, and it turned its head and it looked at me. It was the size of like an average man, 5'7" maybe, about 150 pounds. It was holding the thing. It was eating it palms up with really long claws and pointed ears, and it had a big long nose and long chin, but like this on the picture, she pointed to a drawing of a werewolf from the library book. This is exactly what I saw. This is it. This is what it looked like. This happened to me 2 years ago, and after I heard that Pat had an incident with it, I decided to go to the library, and I looked through a few books that had for pictures of what it looked like, and I found that picture. The knees were bent in a kneeling position like a human would do. It was night, and it was quite large, but I know what I saw. You don't mistake something like that. I don't I don't take Bray Road in the dark anymore. All right, and then we're gonna do Pat. Okay, so it was October this year on Halloween. I was going down Bray Road and it was kind of smoggy out, and my front tire got lifted off the ground. I'd hit something, so I kept going about 50 or 60 feet right before Stiller Road, and then I got out of the car. I'm looking around the side to see what it was because I'm thinking I hit a small animal. I hit a bird the same night, and so I'm thinking I just killed another animal. There was nothing in the road, no blood or anything. I didn't see anything or anybody, and I felt like I'd hit it, it should have stayed there, right? I walked to the end of the car, and here comes this thing just running up at me. You could see it, the chest of this thing, because it was big and it was hairy and it was fast, and that's for sure. Because I see this thing, I get in the car, and by the time I got inside the car, the thing had grabbed a hold of my car. I just put my foot on the gas pedal and I started going. Maybe after I got going and I looked back, but at this time I was more interested in leaving. It was running. You could suggest that it was on two legs because you could see its chest. So, well, and it was pulsating as if it was coming towards me. It was hitting the ground hard. I've never seen a human run as fast as that. And my uncle was a track star. If he'd gotten me, I probably would have been in dinner that night. It was bigger than any dog I've seen around. We got a couple Rottweilers, and we had one that was a real big one, and this thing was bigger than he was, and had more hair. It was brown. You see, like, the hair dark colored. It was black though, and long straight hair. Coyotes don't get this big. I've seen a coyote. They were suggested it was a bear at my house, but I told them it wasn't that big. But it was bigger than any animal I've ever seen around here. When its nails hit the car, it was like vroom. She clapped her hands together with a force. It hit the top of the trunk and it slid off. The fog made the car wet, but when it was going down, it scratched the car. It did not look like a German Shepherd. I swear to that. I went to go pick my mom's boyfriend's daughter, and on the way back, she saw it kneeling down eating or something. She's 11, and I picked her up from trick-or-treating, so it was around 9 p.m. She said, "Look at that thing," and I said, "Yeah, look at it," and I pressed on the gas. The mind tends to play tricks on people after you've been scared, and I admit I was afraid. I'm not going to say it was a werewolf. I'd say it was a freak of nature or one of God's mistakes. It's weird because you don't think something like that exists, but if you see a creature like that, it tends to leave your mind wondering. Barbara's mother also had a story to tell. She said that neighbors of hers woke up at 4 a.m. because her dog was going crazy barking outside. The woman said she went outside and heard a long, constant howling sound. She said it was so scary, said Barbara's mother, that she couldn't get back to sleep, and that she doesn't remember it was a full, and she does remember it was a full moon, so it was a full moon when this happened. Barbara's mother also heard from a male acquaintance that he had seen some sort of creature that was bigger than a dog or wolf by a creek. He didn't know what it was. One other family admits to seeing the mysterious creature. Karen Bowie, who lives on Bowers Road, said her dog Heather, her daughter Heather saw it. Heather, who was 11, was out playing with a friend 2 years ago when she came running home frantic with fright. There's a lot of typos in this. Every time that there's a word "to" appears, it's got toe, and look, like this is how they spelled fright. They spelled freight. I don't know if it's anyway. She said she thought it was a big dog until it stood up, remembered Bowie. We said, "What do you mean stood up?" She wanted us to go down there, but we just blew it off. Heather's memory of the incident is vivid. It was silver-colored fur with brown in it, she said, and its face was shaped like a coyote, but the back legs were shaped differently. When it stood up, it looked bigger than a dog or a coyote, like they could stand up and jump and sniff. It was looking at me. So my thing here is, this is what furries, these are wild furries before we domesticate them. We didn't start domesticating furries until 1997. So these are back when they were still wild, running in the woods, living off the land. But now we have them in captivity, and they're well kempt and entertaining. But, no, not really. But the fact that the kids sighting took place on Halloween is sus to me. I know that's kind of... that's because if it's supposed to be supernatural, right? If it's supposed to be some kind of... Then, yeah, Halloween would be... Because I was active in the pagan community for years, and I know that Halloween had special significance to the magical folk and stuff. So you have that kind of balance. When we making Wolverine sounds for? Yeah, I do. The voice acting. Yeah. Thank you. I am a voice actor. So if you want me to do readings for you, let me know. I am actually looking for other people too, because I have, it's not till November that it's going to be my Mothman, the Mothman frequency is going to release, but I've been working on it for 3 years. I've been waiting to get my old computer back, but I'm tired of waiting. I'm just going to start it fresh with all the pieces of the puzzle. So I will be looking for voice actors, specifically people who can do Southern accent, Miss Sandy. So I'm looking at you. Yeah. Anyway, let's continue on. Where were we at? They just blew it off, and then she said it was looking at her. There we go. Heather said the creature continued to stand and look at them until the children realized it wasn't a dog and started running back to the house. I looked back and I saw it was running towards us, kind of like a dog would run, but with bigger leaps. It got halfway to the house, then turned around and went back into the cornfield, Heather said. Bowie and Heather were not the type of children to lie or make things up. I just think it was a very curious thing, said Bowie. I don't think it's human. I think it's a mix, and it gives me the impression it's deformed. There are other rumors that no one I contacted would own up to, such as the one that claims a local hunter found identifiable tracks on his land, or the one that says a woman and her two children saw a dark, hairy creature on 2 legs chase a deer out of the woods and keep pace with it. Most people do seem to agree that something is out there. They just don't know what it is. Fredrickson, the human officer, I think that's supposed to be the humane officer. I'm gonna guess that's Fredrickson, the humane officer there, because he's probably a human officer too. I would speculate, but he might be the beast itself. Fredrickson might not be the human officer. He might be the werewolf officer. Still sticks to the coyote wolf theory. Sometimes when a wolf or coyote is ready to pounce on an animal, he explained, it'll actually spring up, which gives the illusion that it's standing. So if they caught sight of an animal at just the moment it was lunging, it could have appeared to be on two legs. That's what you see when you see coyotes hunting rodents under the snow, or foxes do it too, where they do and then pounce straight down on it. That way it can't run any specific direction because it's kind of danger from above, right? They use their ears to hone in on where it's moving around underneath the grass, and then they stand up on their hind legs like this, reared up, and then they pounce. Wolves can do it too, for a snack, because wolves are huge, or they can be huge. Depends on the subspecies, but the subspecies that lives in the upper Midwest they get pretty big there. They get over 100 pounds, so they get pretty robust, and I don't know if people are used to seeing them because they're so rare, or they especially were rare in the 90s. Okay, where was I? We talked about Fredrickson. Okay, there we go. Nevertheless, Fredrickson concedes that there are a lot of people who really believe they have seen something out of the ordinary, and he doesn't know quite what to make of it. He probably said it for everyone, though, when he made this observation. The county is getting stranger. Wolfman Jack would have loved that. All right, so that was tracking down the Beast of Bray Road. Somebody transposed this and made a lot of typos, but I appreciate the effort they put into it from the Walworth County Community News. So I appreciate A for effort. I would go through and if I were you, I would highlight this whole article, put it in a Word document and fix all the typos and grammatical issues, and then slap it back in here for easier consumption to the public. But that's just a minor critique. I know small town newspapers don't have a lot of resources, so appreciate what you did here. We are going to now move right along to view the most famous footage of one of these upper Midwest werewolves that's ever been taken. This is the famed Gable footage. If you're not familiar with the Gable film, here we go. There's not going to be much audio here. It's supposed to be a period piece. We got somebody riding an old, maybe 60s style snowmobile. The snow is patchy between the trees. They're having a good time riding their snowmobile around. This is, I believe this is like a Super 8 camera that took this. Yeah, and there's just, it's only 3.5 minutes long. But, yeah, edging the snowmobile along, and I'll hold on here because there's something right here that we need to pay attention to. Right here. Let's rewind it again so you can see what I'm talking about. Behind this tree, right here, there's motion and a black figure standing, peeking around the tree like leaning in. All right. Seems like they're going a little slow for it to be able to really get going. I've never snowmobiled, so correct me if I'm wrong, but don't you have to keep sustaining a speed on that wet snow like that to not sink? Correct me if I'm wrong. And no, there's no sound, so you'll be hearing my narration. I got somebody chopping wood, wearing their 1870s attire. Now we got looking at the forest. Here comes the doggo. It's a German Shepherd. Oh, he's a good boy. Oh, such a good boy. Yes, you are. Sorry. That's what I do. What you doing, good boy? I think it's a boy. It might be a good girl. Should not assume, but I think it's a good boy. And they act like they're hearing something out in the woods, right? And they get, looks like the woodcutter guy in a different outfit, so maybe a different day. I guess I'm driving in the woods. If you go into the woods today, you got a chance to see the Super 8 camera there. Oh, hold on, there was something right there too. Okay, so they prepared to pause. Okay, there's the camera. And they're looking at this. It's moving. But they don't focus enough on it so you can see what it is. And then it cuts away. Then into the woods we go. They're on foot. There it is. Alright. So here is the creature. The alleged come back in from hiding and point out we have a friend with a birthday today. Maybe go by and say hi. Oh, is there a birthday today? Okay, we'll do a birthday announcement after Cryptic Corner. Thank you for letting me know. You're good. You can do that. You got administrative mod power, so you can make those kind of executive decisions. I trust you, babe. All right, here we go. It gets on the move. Here it comes. The person freaks out. All right, and that's the Gable footage. There's some shaky cam. There's the creature. Oop. I didn't mean to full size this. I'm gonna slow it down, okay, guys? Don't want everybody get a good look. So we're gonna play down speed all the way. Ready? All right, here we are. So there's the creature. If I had to say it was moving like any animal, I would say it's moving like a gorilla. The person freaks out, runs, there's their feet as they spin to turn around. And just the forest and stuff flashing by and blurs. Then you have teeth. Did you see the teeth? Where am I? Let's rewind and see that again. Alright. So right about teeth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Trying to get dentition off of this is going to be. This is in Michigan. So here's the 1, 2, 3, 4. There might be 2 teeth here though, because I can't see because the way it's blurred. There might be 2 separate teeth. This is a canine though. I can tell from the dentition it's a canine. But I think it's that dog. But that's where it ends. Now there's a part 2 to this, but they didn't use it because, well, because the person blinked. If you want the honest truth, they have a part 2 to this where the person who allegedly saw the creature and got it mauled here, where they blinked. There's supposed to be a dead body, and they blinked, so they couldn't use it. This film was presented on Monster Quest, the American Wolfman, talking about the Michigan Dogman, the Beast of Bray Road, all these upper Midwestern werewolves, right? This was the director of this film, of this monster film, actually explained how he made it, and to the people from Monster Quest. When they were talking about, he explained how he shot it and how he used the dog and whatnot. And they, Monster Quest, chose to not divulge that portion of the interview in order to make it seem like the Gable film was real footage. So many people will to this day insist that what's happening in this film is authentic, that this really happened to this individual. And that if he, he exists, you know, if there was a murder mystery or something in case with this. If it's from the 70s, blah, 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 but they used just a Super 8 camera and all that. So this was all a big prank. Or not really a prank. That's disingenuous. I'm going to call it I'm not going to call it a hoax either. I'm going to call it like a art project that somebody else manipulated. But there's these guys that I found that actually went out to the spot. So we're just going to give them a quick watch. This is the paranormal guys. They go to haunted locations or whatever and explore that kind of stuff. So here, we're going to okay, so this is what the locations look like now. This is Bray Road. I want to go to Bray Road sometime. Who wants to come with me? Could be a bear, yes. Alright, hold on. I didn't mean to skip that far. Here we go. It could have been a Wolverine, but I think it was the dog. Uh-huh. So pretty in the fall, though. Look at this yellow trees. I bet it's the family that owns this plantation house over here. They have a family curse that causes them to turn. No, I'm just messing around. It's not a plantation house either, because plantation houses really didn't exist in the upper Midwest. That was more of a southern thing. Mm-hmm. So these are just some of the locations. All right, and then they did some fleur too, so I want to show that. They did do some fleur and caught an animal, but I don't think it was the Beast of Bray Road, but they did catch something. So but I think it's a deer. No, it's not. It's not upright. It's on all fours. There, you see? It's a deer. It's a deer. At least you know your flare works. Yeah. Or her, yeah. Could be a girl. Girl beast. Lady beast. They're going to take another look, kids. My beauties and bees. FLER. It's the heat sensor. I believe that's what it's called. I may be wrong. You think it was like feral Wolverine, maybe with bone claws? If he had metal claws, that none of those cars would have survived. Ring. If Wolverine had his adamantium claws, there would be just the cars would just be shredded to pieces. Now, bone claw Wolverine, maybe. No, it's because the body, the heat, the way heat comes up or burns off the body. All right. Yeah, I think that's yes. All right. So that was Cryptic Corner's Beast of Bray Road Spectacular. So thank you so much for sticking around with me. That was done in memory of Linda Godfrey, who brought the Beast of Bray Road to my attention years and years ago when the internet was young and I was a little believer, believing all these creatures were real and all the stuff that I talk about on this. I was a hard-nosed believer in it, and there was no resources available other than the books that I had access to. So when I got books that talked about the Beast of Bray Road, the internet came around. That's one of the first things that I did. I spent a lot of time researching this particular cryptid and the Gable footage and all that good stuff. So I'm glad I got to share it with you tonight. So please remember to be kind, take care, and we will see you next time. All right, live from the Hive team. Don't go anywhere. Please do not leave me. Don't leave me yet. I've got Creation Watch right around the corner, and we're gonna be talking about the 4 major flaws exposed in evolution. So I'm going to be dunked on by Tomorrow's World. So you don't want to miss that, do you? Stick around, and I will see you guys over in Creation Watch.
Hey, Matt Powell, remember us? Robert and me, remember the studio? This is where you ran away, remember? And you didn't only run away, you decided to cancel a show with Jackson Wheat that you had the day after that, and a few days after that, you posted that you would never go on an atheist channel ever again. We made that happen. We scared you. Didn't we, Robert? I mean, must have been.
Absolutely. You ran, and Matt, I still remember it was right before the kickoff of the show. You asked me and Peter, hey, are either one of you homos? Now, not only was that totally irrelevant, I remember asking you, do you know what a bear is? And the first thing you did was talk about what's in the zoo. And I told you what a bear was, and I still strongly suggest stop asking random, enormous, muscular men, are they homos? It may not work out well for you.
Nope, it might not. What also wouldn't work out well for you is, remember Bree, the one that you tried to mock in one of your videos? Bree isn't phased. In fact, Bree, and if you don't remember her, this is Bree, she wants to debate you on the science of trans. And trust me, Matt, she is going to demolish you. And so in the meantime,
absolutely,
what you can do is look up what a beard is, because I think we both know where you're coming from, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If you want to debate Bree, you can come on our channel. If you want to debate Robert, because he's more than happy to debate you as well. And you still have your open invitation to come on our channel. So that's 3 shows where you're more than welcome to come and defend yourself, Matt Powell. We'll see you soon.
Come on.
Hello and welcome to Creation Watch, where we explore all the different theories about how our world came to be and the nature of existence itself. This is Creation Watch. All right. And we are back to the basics because we are talking about evolution yet again, which I know people come for, so I'm going to keep talking about because I love talking about evolution and hydrating. Yes, yes, yes. There we go. All right, and thank you so much for joining me this evening. We're looking at I believe this is a new channel. I don't think we've covered these guys before. So that's going to be a treat to see who and what they are and what they have to offer. This is, let me bring it up for everyone to see. Let's see here, we're going to do, there we go. Yeah, sorry. Takes me a second to do this. It's doing your own production and doing, yeah, here we go. So this is Tomorrow's World. They have us such bangers as tithing, the biblical key to financial peace of mind, the future of Christianity and the end of religious diversity, 7 keys to lasting happiness, strategies for finding happiness and achieving real success. The devil is real. But we're going to be talking about these 4 proofs here. Why evolution is not true. 4 major flaws exposed. So buckle in, bucko. We are in for quite the ride. All right, this should be a fun one. Should be a fun one. All right, come on. What's going on with the sound? I'll get y'all, don't worry. There you are. I added y'all to the sound deck, so.
It's been called one of the most powerful and influential scientific theories in history. The theory of evolution by natural selection, first published well more than a century ago by Charles Darwin, and its powerful influence on life in virtually every realm of understanding would indeed be hard to overestimate. But is it true? Many would respond, of course, evolution has been proven true 1,000 times over. All the evidence we have says evolution is a fact of nature. But is the evidence really that solid? Is the theory of evolution really indisputable?
Yes. Yes, it is. Thank you for joining me tonight in Creation. No, we'll let him talk more. I do like this old-timey cladogram, though. Because it's got categories like beast of prey and beaked animals. It's really weird. Hold on, my door is cracked open. Yeah, it's got hooved animals, which ungulata, and it does actually have pouched animals as being part of what leads down that way, and it's got sloths is closer related to sloths is semi-apes, Lemuridia, semi-apes, and it has bats on there too. Bats are semi-apes on this old-timey cladogram. I like these. I think they're fun to look at and see how they used to categorize things. Beaked animals, I'm guessing, is probably going to be platypus and echidnas. So going to be the monotremes is what this branch here is supposed to be. Beast of prey, I can only assume they're talking about carnivora. Which is funny because rodents would be closer related to man than to carnivora. You could put pangolins where you have rodents, though. Pangolins could go there. Pouched animals. Just pouched animals. Well, let them continue.
No, it is not. And today we'll pull back the curtain on some of the evidence that many evolutionists would prefer you not see.
All right, Wallace.
Join us for this episode of Tomorrow's World, where we will expose some of evolution's dirty little secrets.
I'm all like, wow, it's going to be Darwin and Wallace all over again. Except for I'm going to be Bree Darwin. That's going to be my new last name. Hey, Bandaya got stung. Bandaya stung themselves. Oh, goodness.
Welcome to Tomorrow's World, where we help you understand your world through the pages of the Bible. And our topic today might seem far removed from those pages, the theory of evolution. It is perhaps one of the single most influential scientific theories in history, with immeasurable impact on science, philosophy, education, politics, and religion. And we are assured by many that it is undoubtedly true, that no one of any intelligence or education would even dare to question it. Well, today we will dare to question it, because while evolution puts up a good front, it has a long...
Who's we, Wallace? Is that you, Wallace? Because I don't think you have the scruples to take down evolution. I don't know who you are, Wallace Smith.
Long list of dirty little secrets that you don't tend to hear about in your classrooms or television programming.
That tie is sexy, though, I gotta say.
And the more you learn about what evolution has to hide, the more you wonder why so many put faith in an idea that remains unproven.
What are we
It's
hiding?
a big topic, and we'll only scratch the surface today. Now, before we begin, let's understand what we mean by evolution. Claiming that life began in a vastly simpler form, similar perhaps to a microscopic bacterium, the theory of...
Well, no, the theory of evolution doesn't really say anything about how life began, right? There are, for evolution, for change from one organism to another, there already has to be life. By just by the fact that that evolution is life changing from one form to another, how can life change from one form to another if there's no pre-existing life? So you're talking about abiogenesis again, which is a conversation to be had, but not evolution like you're talking about in this topic here. And saying that early life was like a bacterium in general is sort of an oversimplification, but I guess I can't push back too hard on that because that's the way we learned it in school too.
Evolution says that over billions of years, life changed slowly, that the struggle for survival rewarded slight random variations in the descendants of that life form that gave them an edge, perhaps allowing them to find food faster or reproduce more successfully. And
it's not so much an edge, it's that it didn't give them a disadvantage. People like to flip the script on that. It's not the best. It's the least detrimental. Because that's what the line is. If you can survive with this feature, and if this feature helps you reproduce or doesn't hinder you in reproduction, it can hinder you in day-to-day life even. You know, you can have toe thumbs or whatever, and pass that on in your lineage, but it's not a benefit. It's just something that's not really hurting your survival success. I don't know. It's so weird to put it as only the best of the best survive. No, only the worst of the worst get cut out, and then everything. We're all survivors. Everything alive today, the students of nature that you think of is not really successful. The panda, which struggles to reproduce, is viable. It's a viable organism that can sustain itself or could sustain itself in its environment until humans came around. But that's neither here nor there. That animal that we have such a hard time getting to breed and sustain its own population was good enough to survive. So to it's oversimplification to say that only the best survive, and also it's oversimplification to say that it's random, because each individual is choosing their mates. It's not unguided. Organisms themselves are selecting. That's what natural selection means. There's selection there. Choices are being made. Choices are presented, and a decision is being made. We can see this in organisms as simple as the slime mold. Please just stop.
Similarly, it punished those descendants whose random adaptations were less favorable for survival. In this way, and through this unintelligent, unguided process, evolution says those microscopic bacteria-like organisms a few billion years ago have been able to turn into the astonishing variety of life forms we see today, including us. No divine designer or creator necessary.
Correct.
Not long ago, Sotheby's, the famous auction house, offered a first edition of Charles Darwin's book on the origin of species by means of natural selection, or the preservation of favored races in the struggle for life, published in 1859. The book in which he first published the theory of evolution. Now, at least when I saw it, Sotheby's recommended estimate for the book was $250,000 to $300,000.
Right, because it's a famous Victorian work of science, but it's not modern science.
You might think, why so high? It's just a book. Well, there are numerous
Because it's from the 1850s. Most books from the 1850s are going to have a high price tag. I promise. I promise that you're not going to find books from the 1850s that are cheap.
factors, but the book's role in human history is perhaps the greatest. Sotheby's calls the book one of the greatest achievements of scientific discovery. Referring to Darwin's book, science historian Bern Dibner once wrote, "This, the most important single work in science, brought man to his true place in nature." High-sounding praise, to be sure, but is it accurate?
No, because Darwin didn't know about genetics. Darwin didn't know about DNA. All that stuff that came out later is what vindicated him. So I have a feeling you're going to make a lot of claims about what he said in the 1850s. Yeah, which is not going to be relevant to today, because we've... Yeah.
That depends, of course, on whether the theory is true. If all life as we know it today is the result of nothing but mindless processes, then yes.
No, many of the organisms had a mind, a brain. They had features that you're just saying that they didn't have, that you just claimed that they didn't have.
Darwin's book is a towering achievement in human history, a monumental discovery that does truly put man in his place as nothing special, nothing remarkable. Just a random life form on a random planet. And life, it turns out, has no real meaning at all.
Right, exactly, like the appendix. When we ate a lot more seeds and stuff, having an appendix was more beneficial. We don't have that. We don't have that need to keep seeds and nuts and stuff as much as we used to.
All. Again, if that theory is true. Now, of course, many claim it is true and claim so very loudly. Evolutionary apologist Jerry Coyne writes in his popular book,
Evolutionary apologist? What?
book, Why Evolution is True. Evolution is a fact, and far from casting doubt on Darwinism, the evidence gathered by scientists over the past century and a half supports it completely, showing that evolution happened and that it happened largely as Darwin proposed, through the workings of natural selection.
True.
Of course, many want it to be true. Evolution
It is true. It is true. We see it. It's proven. It's true.
has become an escape hatch for those who want to explain away.
You haven't said anything to dispute it at all. You've not said a single thing to refute evolution.
The beautiful diversity and complexity of life without a creator. As famous biologist Richard Dawkins once said, Darwin made it possible to be an intellectually fulfilled atheist. Is he right?
Is that what's wrong with that? being intellectually fulfilled and being an atheist. What's the issue? Well, you got a problem with that, Wallace?
Again, only if evolution has been proven true. And in fact, it is not.
You keep claiming that and insisting that, but you haven't shown that. You haven't even demonstrated anything yet. Hopefully, yeah, you'll get into these second dirty little... Okay, we're getting into the dirty little secrets here. We're seconds away, and I'm just being impatient.
Despite claims that all the evidence supports it completely, the truth is that evolution has a whole host of dirty little secrets that our classrooms and popular science programs don't talk about too loudly. The first dirty little secret of evolution is this: even the simplest living cell is devastating to the theory of evolution. In Darwin's day, little was known about cells. Single-celled organisms like amoebas were described by Charles Darwin's contemporary George Henry Lewis as simply a microscopic lump of jelly-like substance or protoplasm.
Yeah, because they couldn't see, right? They couldn't see that fine details because the technology hadn't gotten there yet. We can now. You understand that?
Entirely
It's not 1887 anymore.
destitute of texture and consequently destitute of organs. In other cells, such as those in our body, a nucleus could be seen, but its purpose was a mystery and the cell seemed otherwise generally featureless. In such days when the smallest, simplest unit of life seemed that simple, just a bit of jelly with a few boring features, it was easy to imagine somehow within that mysterious, life-giving jelly, anything could happen. But as microscopes improved and techniques were developed to tease out the secrets of the inner world of the cell, we have discovered that this supposedly simple jelly-like substance is filled with machinery of astonishing complexity.
It's filled with DNA, right? So let's say that, yes, before they could see that small of stuff, I didn't realize how complex how complex the inner workings of the microscopic world were. That doesn't mean that evolution's not true. I don't know why it would. That microscopic life is just as complex, if not more complex, as macro life, and that the temporal state of microscopic mechanics and organisms is different than our own.
Ingenuity and design. The world of the human cell, for instance, is one in which approximately 1 billion chemical reactions take place every single second.
Scary big numbers. I know, big numbers can be scary.
And these are not random chemical reactions.
Nope.
A human cell is filled with...
That's why I keep wondering why you keep saying random, because none of this is random. You're just insisting that it's random when it's actually selected. When an organism shares its DNA to procreate with another organism, it selects the other organism. It makes that selection.
Thousands upon thousands of proteins of 10,000 different varieties. Molecular machines designed to work together to achieve specific purposes, manipulating their surroundings, creating new structures, and dismantling old ones in a dynamic dance of complexity that would make the space shuttle seem simple.
Yes, right. You're getting it, Wallace. Evolution happens on the tiniest of scales. And it can happen quickly, it can happen slowly. Depends on the pressures that the organisms are under.
Life is impossible without these complex machines, and even small changes.
Modern life is impossible without these complex machines. Back when they didn't have to compete with the complex lives and machines that are in place already, they got to be more experimental.
Changes to organisms, as hypothesized by evolution, requires changes to these machines, even the design of new machines. And that is as unlikely as it sounds. Biochemist Douglas Axe has examined the probability of even one protein of any significant functionality at all forming by chance and estimated it to be 1 in 10 to the 64. That is 1 out of a number that is a 1 followed by 64 zeros. Along with colleague Ann Gager, Axe explored the possibility that one protein could evolve from another similar one based on just a handful of necessary changes to DNA, and found that at currently understood rates of mutation, it would take 10 to the 27 years for such a change to take place. Again, that's a 1 followed by 27 zeros. Impressive given that scientists think our universe is only 13 billion years old, or about a 1 followed by 10 zeros. In other words,
Right. This is indicative, not indicative of the age being, of the mutation rate being constant, right? What we see now and the way that organisms differentiate is different than what it would have been like in prebiotic or early biotic world, right? Where we have, depending on which model we turns out to be true, there's going to be other factors that come into play to how fast and prominent these mutations and changes take place within the organism's germline.
it's just not going to happen apart from intelligent intervention. Again, even the simple...
But it did. What are you going to do? It did happen. We're just going to have to figure out what caused it to happen, because all the other information that we have points towards common descent from organism for all living organisms.
Living cell is devastating to the theory of evolution. We mentioned DNA a moment ago, and the nature of DNA is another of evolution's dirty little secrets, because DNA represents an abstract coding system that points to intelligence. Deoxyribonucleic acid, or DNA for short, was unknown in Darwin's day, and is the molecule responsible for carrying the information needed to build all of the proteins that make life possible. Each nucleus in each individual...
Yeah, that's what I was talking about when you were saying the nucleus. It was just a protoplasm or something. No, there's DNA in there. We just didn't understand it back then in Darwin's day. Now you seem to be pushing that message. Make up your mind, sir.
Individual normal cell in your body contains about 2 meters of DNA packed into a microscopic dot, all of it containing the information needed to build you. DNA uses base pairs combining 4 different compounds that act like the ones and zeros in computer code, detailing to the cellular machinery the information needed to build all of the complex proteins life requires. Information from the DNA is carried from place to place.
So is this whole video just going to be arguments from incredulity? You're like, we don't know how to make this, how this was made, how this could come out not naturally, therefore God, which is just look at the trees, look at the DNA, I guess, is the new argument.
Place where proteins read the code and assemble new proteins from precisely sequenced amino acids based on that information, making every one of your cells a complex chemical factory, creating purposefully arranged nanoscopic machinery and some of the most complicated chemical compounds found anywhere in the universe. But where did this abstract programming code originate? Evolution can't take credit. It's a mindless, purposeless process.
Not mindless, not purposeless. There are lots of minds attached to the evolutionary process, and there's lots of purpose that that organisms develop characteristics or favor characteristics in response to. So no, everything you just said is false. It's not mindless. It's not purposeless. The organisms that are trying to procreate, that is their purpose. Generally, that's the only innate purpose of most organisms is that to propagate their genetic material forward. Other than that, you don't need any other purpose. That's the driving force. Whatever develops in tandem with that, in tandem with that, is going to be in order to favor its survival long enough to mate. Like skin, for instance. You develop skin to keep you from suffering from UV light, to give you time to mature so you can pass on your genetics. It's all linked into choosing your mate. I'm sorry.
Yes, remember? In fact, where did DNA come from? You can't build proteins without DNA. And yet DNA is itself assembled by proteins. The discovery
RNA
of DNA should have been a great success for evolution. The secret to how the characteristics of life are passed on to our descendants was finally unveiled. But it has been a disaster. The idea of a...
Just because it's confusing to you doesn't mean it was a disaster. Like the stuff I just explained there, we know quite a bit about the origins of DNA and how it's formed.
massive information-rich molecule containing an abstract...
Do you see how they depend on their audience not knowing how this stuff works? You see how they depend on them not knowing that we have fundamental understandings of the development of DNA? We see all the steps from RNA to DNA in place in nature.
programming code capable of bearing the information needed to build all the complex machinery of life is incompatible with the idea that life is supposedly grown in complexity through mindless natural processes.
Not mindless. Will you stop saying they're mindless, you silly, silly man? It's selective, not mindless.
Evolutionists cannot avoid the fact that DNA represents an abstract coding system that points to intelligence. Our next dirty secret of evolution is an opportunity to turn the tables a bit. In short, the gaps in the fossil record since Darwin's day have gotten worse, not better. The theory of evolution
Okay, let me say that this is going to be a Dr. Banjo argument. Do you guys think this is going to be a Dr. Banjo argument? That's where, hold on, let me see if I can, maybe I can share it and it'll let me. Maybe it'll let me. It's like a 3-minute thing, so let me see.
I don't understand evolution, and I have to protect my kids from understanding it. We will not give in to the thinkers.
You people are as loud as you are ignorant. Now get back on your turnip trucks and go home. That is an insultingly accurate stereotype, sir. As a professor of science, I assure you that we did in fact evolve from filthy monkey men.
I cannot speak for you, sir, but my ancestors were not monkeys. They were orangutans, hard-working, patriotic orangutans.
Dr. Banjo?
In the fur. And I remind you that evolution is merely a theory, like gravity or the shape of the earth.
Hey, Professor, I'm a flying spaghetti monster. You seriously believe I'm descended from some kind of flightless manicotti?
Yes!
Oh, please. A far more logical explanation is the undisprovable science of creaturism. All life was created in its present form 7,000 years ago by a fantastical creature from outer space.
Bunk!
Oh? If your elitist East Coast evolution is real, why has no one found the missing link between modern humans and ancient apes?
We did find it. It's called Homo erectus.
Then you have proven my case, sir. For no one has found the link between apes and this Homo erectus.
Yes, they have. It's called Homo habilis.
Aha! But no one has found the missing link between ape and the so-called Homo habilis.
Yes, they have. It's called Australopithecus africanus.
Oh, I've got you now. Fair enough. But where, then, is the missing link between apes and this Darwinius Massarai? Answer me that, Professor.
Oh, okay, granted that one missing link is still missing. But just because we haven't found it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Pshaw! Things don't exist simply because you believe in them. Thus saith the almighty creature in the sky!
There you go. Yeah. I anticipate that's the argument we're going to get here. So let's see.
depends on the slow and steady accumulation of small variations, since large jumps in changes would imply an active designer or planner. The result should be a smooth transition in the fossil record, with animals
No, because you have a punctuated equilibrium driven by environmental factors, my friend. A lot of different things are going to come into play as to why and how these changes take place and how fast they take place, what lives, what dies. There's going to be extinction events. There's going to be faunal shifts. There's going to be climate change. There's going to be extirpation, especially in modern times, by predatory species that they can't compete against.
Gradually, almost imperceptibly, turning into new animals through small, smooth changes. But this is not what the fossil record shows. Instead of a smooth, continuous transition of creatures, the record indicates gaps between different kinds of creatures. As Michael Denton wrote in his seminal work, Evolution, A Theory in Crisis, the overall picture of life on Earth today is so discontinuous, the gaps between the different types so obvious, that as Stephen Stanley reminds us in his recent book, Macroevolution, if our knowledge of biology was restricted to those species presently existing on Earth, we might wonder whether the doctrine of evolution would qualify as anything more than an outrageous hypothesis.
He just said if we didn't have the fossil record, if we didn't have the slow changes that you're talking about, the transitional species that you're going to insist we don't have, then it would be outrageous. But we do have the transitional species, my friend. Please, Wallace.
Without intermediates or transitional forms to bridge the enormous gaps which separate existing species and groups of organisms, the concept of evolution could never be taken seriously as a scientific hypothesis.
You just read the quiet part out loud, dude. You aren't supposed to say that if we didn't have the fossil record to confirm it. You're not supposed to tell us that part. You're supposed to cherry pick that out. I have to teach Wallace how to do apologetics.
Of course, seemingly continuous lines of some animals are trotted out for display to pretend the gaps are not nearly as damaging as they are. For instance, you will see theoretical sequences for whale, horse, and human evolution. Yet not only are these sequences themselves deceptive and not proven lines of descent at all, the fact remains that if evolution is—
Why are they deceptive, you tool? What's deceptive about them? Don't be throwing shade at people who do this research. What's your problem, mate?
True, these sorts of sequences should be the norm, not the rare exception. Ironically, evolutionists often accuse believers of having faith in a God of the gaps, who magically does all the things they cannot explain. Such a misunderstanding aside, the unexplainable gaps in the fossil record, a thorn in Darwin's side that remains just as thorny more than 150 years later.
It's not though. It's just because every time we find an individual organism, right, it creates a gap between it and its last common ancestor with another lineage, with a sister lineage, and its descendants. So every time that if it left any descendants, or its last surviving ancestor or descendant, whichever the case may be, its living descendant or last surviving descendant, it creates two gaps between there. So unless we had like a parent to child lineage, you're never going to accept anything that we offer you, which is weird and disingenuous.
Later, turn the tables and put evolutionists in the place of wielding blind faith and believing in a Darwin of the gaps. For our next dirty secret, all you need to do is look in the mirror at your remarkable evolution-defying eyes, because evolution continues to offer no good explanation for how new organs can form. In the Psalms, King David praises God and proclaims to his Creator, "I am fearfully and wonderfully made." And we see part of that wonder in the organs of the body, such as the eye. After all, organs represent not just specialized tissues, but interwoven systems, often systems upon systems, finely tuned and exquisitely structured to work together. And if one part is missing, the whole can fail.
But they don't have to evolve individually. They can evolve in tandem. They can evolve like at the same time.
Improving the entire organ would often involve each piece or part evolving in conjunction with all the other pieces in a coordinated way.
Right.
A coordination that evolution does not allow. The problem was summarized.
We have every step along the way, from a simple photoreceptive cell on the surface of the organism all the way to the complex camera eyes and compound eyes of the animal kingdom.
Not long ago in an article in The Guardian. First, the paper gives the traditional explanation for the supposed evolution of the eye, given by thousands of teachers over the decades to tens of thousands of students. Animals that have light-sensitive cells for some reason experience a series of slight mutations that increasingly give them survival advantages, such as the slight cupping of the flesh around the cells that helps to focus the light, a clear covering of some sort eventually to seal the space, which slowly becomes a lens. Then muscles arrive to shape and focus the lens better, etc. The Guardian continues, "This is the basic story of evolution as recounted in countless textbooks and pop science bestsellers. The problem, according to a growing number of scientists, is that it is absurdly crude and misleading. For one thing, it starts midway through the story, taking for granted the existence of light-sensitive cells, lenses, and irises without explaining where they came from in the first place."
We do explain where they came from in the first place. Again, we have all of these from simple photoreceptor cells all the way up through like ocelli eye spots, which are maybe underneath a skin cell that still picks up light and dark and maybe some movements. We have those going to an advanced, more advanced with actual retina that we see in the tuatara. They actually have a retina on their third eye on the top of their head. The tuatara does, and then we have simple camera eyes like you see in a like a jumping spider. We have all the steps along the way, friend.
Nor does it adequately explain how such delicate and easily disrupted components mesh together to form a single organ. And it isn't just eyes that the traditional theory struggles with. The first eye, the first wing, the first placenta, how they emerge. Explaining these is the foundational motivation of evolutionary biology, says Armin Mochek, a biologist at Indiana University. In short, evolution promises us it can explain the organs of our bodies and how they supposedly formed gradually over millennia, but in reality,
we actually have them. We see them. We can demonstrate that. Why are you ignoring that? That we do have those, all the steps along the way. We have all the different chambers of hearts. We have all the different types of eyes forming.
Reality, it hasn't a clue. Our fourth dirty little secret, the fact that evolution continues to offer no good explanation for how new organs can form, is devastating to a theory that was developed more than 150 years ago to explain that very fact.
We also see like the evolution of the swim bladder to being lungs. We have that whole step, all the steps along the way for that, all the species with those different evolutionary partitions, if you will. We have all of the stuff that you're talking about us not having. What are you saying, Wallace?
You know, let me confess something. I know it's considered a cinema classic, but I've personally never been a big fan of The Wizard of Oz. Frankly, when I first saw it, I was a little kid, and the flying monkeys were pretty spooky. But as I've grown older, one scene has remained with me and has become a real favorite. It's close to the end of the movie as Dorothy and her band are confronting the terrifying wizard for the fact that he is failing to keep his promises. As they do so, flames shoot out, thunder crashes, and the wizard speaks to them as a giant green monstrous head hovering in the air in front of them, shouting, "Do not arouse the wrath of the great and powerful Oz." Meanwhile, Dorothy's dog Toto makes his way to a green curtain off to the left and pulls it aside to reveal a small, white-haired old man using a machine to create the illusion they're all looking at and speaking into a microphone to...
He's going to tell this narrative without any sense of irony about his religion is what I'm going to take away from this. Damn, I'm a pale woman. Look how pale I am.
amplify his voice and make it sound terrifying. My favorite part in that scene is when the old man turns around, notices they can see him, and turns back to the microphone to demand, "Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain." Well, the forces arrayed to convince people not to question the theory of evolution are very similar. There's a lot of thunder and flame, impressive proclamations about proof and evidence, and a lot of theater designed to make you think that there's nothing to doubt. But like the wizard, evolution has not kept its promises. The theory promises an explanation.
Yes, it has, and we just went through and explained them to you. It's just that you're not, you have to have a certain level of understanding to, I'm not trying to throw shade or anything, but of the way that punctuated equilibrium and cell division happens, but you don't.
Explanation of your origins, an explanation that needs no God, no intelligence at all, just an initial microbe, careless natural processes, and a few billion years. We need to be willing to pull back the curtain, to not be so impressed by the theater that we don't question what we're
I hope you did, Wallace. I hope you come back and watch this and hang out with me in my hive, and yeah.
shown. And to not be so intimidated that we aren't willing to stand up and call evolution out for not keeping its promises. Or to borrow from another fiction, it might have been a hard day when you first learned Santa Claus wasn't real. But that realization brought you that much deeper into the real world and much further from.
And he won't see the irony in that statement either, I assure you.
A world of make-believe. Recognizing the dirty little secrets of evolution can help you step away from the.
And recognizing that this is just propaganda and there aren't actually any dirty little secrets of evolution. It's just a field of science that explains the biology and diversity that we see on Earth today.
World of make-believe as well. Yet the questions evolutionists seek to answer remain. Where do we come from? How did life come to be? Is there any purpose to it all? And if so, what might that purpose?
There is purpose to procreate, as if that's what you want it to be. Otherwise, yeah, if you want to win the evolution game and pass on your genes, that is, if that's your goal, and that can be your purpose. But otherwise, just it's what your goal is to try to. I think the goal is try to make things better in the world. But you do you.
Purpose be. Unclouded by the evolutionary theater, you can seek the real answers to those questions. And if you really seek with an open mind and an open heart, with God's help, you will find your way to the only possible starting place in the search for those answers. The very first sentence of the Bible.
Genesis.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. I hope you'll find the courage to look behind the curtain more often.
Yeah, look behind the curtain of that book.
Thanks for watching. If you're interested in the free offer that we have today, please check the description.
Yeah, look into the behind the curtain of your religion, my friend. Look behind that curtain instead. All right, so that was Creation Watch. We had the 4 major flaws exposed about evolution. I didn't find one single major flaw exposed. I found someone trying to stifle scientific curiosity, if that counts. All right, so let's see. I'm probably going to get a copyright strike for playing Futurama, but oh well. Thank you so much for joining me in Creation Watch tonight. Please remember to tune in Friday night for some Cryptic Corner, and then meet us back here Saturday morning for another installment of Live from the Hive, where you can join this crew over here and participate in the side chat on the side. Thank you for tuning in. Please remember to be kind, take care, and we will see you next time. All right, now for my Live from the Hive crew, do not leave. We have some queer stuff to do, so we're not gonna miss on the opportunity to celebrate queerness. So stick around after this last little musical intermission, and I will see you on the flip side for some HiveSci. Pachycrocutta is an absolute monster. Good grief, that animal's huge. Hello, and welcome to HiveScience. This is Bree, and we are here to talk about some strange science. You want to see something wild? Well, check this out. Here's our transgender peacock. She's trying to impress this peahen over here into some, yeah. So that was a female peacock doing the male ritual to attract a female mate. Pretty cool, huh? Also, I'm not going to play too much of this because it's BBC and they'll strike me, but we got some gay albatrosses. Look how gay they are. So gay for each other. Dances to attract their mates and engage with each other, and yeah, let's see how this goes.
Raised wing spreading.
So we're gonna get to the same sex stuff here, I think.
She prefers one tango at a time. It seems that this is not going to be his year after all. But he's caught the eye of another albatross. Once again, he begins his courtship display. But this is, in fact, another male.
Another male.
Regardless, he continues to demonstrate his eligibility.
All right, we're not stopping there, though. We got more gayness to go over. Check this out. Hold on. Does homosexual behavior exist among gorillas? Let's read and find out. Such behavior has been observed under certain conditions, both between females and between males. Among free-ranging gorillas, homosexual behavior has been observed in mountain gorillas. Female gorillas, adult gorilla females, are sexually active almost exclusively during estrus, during the phase of their cycle when they are ready to conceive. During this time, they demonstrate their interest in mating mainly to males, but occasionally they seem to be sexually attracted to female group members. The two females will sit together in close physical contact, such as a close embrace, and rub their genitals on the ground or on the other female's body. Male gorillas' homosexual behavior is observed very rarely in harem groups, occasionally during play between youngsters, but it is common in all male groups. Silverbacks approach their younger partners with the vocalizations they usually produce when mating with females. If the younger partner takes the initiative, they are more likely to take on roles of the female. The copulation itself and the position taken by the partner resembles those of heterosexual couples. So, yes, we do have some gayness in the animal kingdom. We have some queerness. We have some transness. It's normal for organisms to interact this way. The scissor sister gorillas are based, and I affirm their right to exist. These gay bachelor troops of gorillas are very well documented, and yeah, most organisms that form bachelor troops when they're younger and not able to compete with the dominant males, like with lions and things like that form bonds. Lions are another one that form homosexual relationships. So yeah, let's look that up real quick. Yeah, the transgender lioness. You've heard of gay penguins, but species throughout the world also count transgender members among them. Meet Memoriri, the lioness from Okavango Delta in Botswana, where she is at least one of 5 trans lionesses in the Delta who have elected to adopt the physical characteristics and mannerisms of the opposite sex. At first, on observation, researchers thought Memoriri was a traditional male lion. She had a beautiful full mane, a deeper, more masculine roar than her female counterparts, and her behavior within the pride is undeniably a role exhibited traditionally by males, both dominance and leadership and protection. The transgender lion, both M to F and F to M, have been witnessed in the wild across the savanna. We often discuss homosexuality occurring in nature, but rarely do we take a look at many species who embrace transgenderism, I almost said the no-no word, transgender among them. Let's see here, we're going to have... Why are you not full screen?
Area they can
the whole thing play because I'll get in trouble, I'm sure. Probably gonna get a copyright strike anyway, doesn't matter. Marsh harriers, a type of bird in most places around the world except North and South America, have been given some pretty offensive labels by journalists. The only cross-dressing bird of prey was published by New Scientist, Why Some Birds of Prey Become Transvestites, enthused HiveScience.com. In reality, almost 40% of marsh harriers defy gender rules and decidedly live as the opposite gender. Some even find comfort displaying more non-binary gender presentations where their behavior moves fluidly between being male and other times female. The biological males, I hate that, biological males, but I'll allow it, that are transgender go to great lengths to embody the female of their species. They mimic their movements, stay small in stature, and in the more outstanding cases, even their plumage resembles that of a female marsh harrier. Then it does the male variation, which boasts brighter, more brilliant colors of feathers. Transgender or animals with a third gender trait have been seen from the desert highland hyena to the towering jungle canopies of Zanzibar, where the precious Columbus monkeys play, to the dark depths of the sea with the giant Australian cuttlefish, animals that have been breaking gender rules long before humans made them. Researchers are baffled by these animals that are not just breaking human gender rules, but thumbing their nose at man-made gender rules. To the animals, however, this is just the way of life. It is their identity, and they don't care what onlookers think. The explanation provided by some biologists who study these animals is that it appears to be evolutionary. Certain members of these species adapt to their circumstances to avoid combat with dominant males or to resist being viewed as a threat. The trans-identifying Columbus monkeys, just like all females in the group, are permitted to stay once reaching maturity, as where the males are ejected from the tribe. As with humans, the gender expression of these creatures in the wild is not indicative of their sexuality. which only amplifies the fact that there is no relationship between assigned sex and preferred gender, even for animals. And of course, we got some bonobos going at it in that picture right there. Let's go ahead and, let's watch that too. What do you got for us, Baboon TV?
Baboon TV presents 7 transgender animals. Number 1. Up until they reach adulthood, most of the animal kingdom copy traits of the opposite gender. A large majority of male marsh harriers, however, spend their lifespan mimicking their female counterparts by having coordinating plumage. The male marsh harriers in question are up to 30% more compact than males who do not possess feminine features. The feminine males use their look to their advantage and try to initiate intimacy with female marsh harriers. It is unsure if they are successful in mating. There has been a case where a feminine male did try to seduce a female, only for it to be a decoy marsh harrier planted by scientists to study behavior. Ornithologists are unsure if his fellow feathered friends mocked the cheeky Casanova for his birdie blunder. Number 2. 3 types of male bluegill sunfish exist: parentals, satellites, and sneak.
Yeah, this is good. Getting into fish is we're gonna have to talk about the transphobes that got all mad about the British Library posting about the fish that what species of fish was that again? Like a bump head. Yeah. Anyway, lost my place. There we go.
And sneakers. The parentals take on the traditionally female roles, and they will build their nests and look after their offspring. Satellites are incredibly feminine in appearance, so much so that parentals do not mind them being there as they attempt to procreate. As the satellite slinks around the mating couple, he releases his own sperm to mix with the parentals. Despite parentals having the lowest sperm count, they are actually the most successful at inseminating the females. Number 3. Old world monkeys, located in Asia and Africa, coexist in patriarchally led clans. Once they reach manhood, lower males are forced to find other suitable male mates. Much like humans, odd things can happen to a male's body once they reach puberty. Their anal area swells up, causing them to appear female. Once the olive colobus passes puberty, the inflammation stops. However, in the red colobus, the bulge stays. Rather than eluding the males as they attempt to mate, the bodily strategy is used to pacify them. Number 4. Arguably one of the oddest animals on the planet is the cuttlefish. They have humongously squishy, round brains with eyes that can see when it's almost pitch black. They even have 3 hearts. Similarly to some of its family, such as squid and octopi, the giant cuttlefish is able to disguise itself and blend with its surroundings. The ratio of male to female cuttlefish is 11 to 1.
They actually did this on that prehistoric planet, didn't they? Talked about.
Which is a definite disadvantage if you're the smaller male. To evade being caught in the dormant male's territory, the sneaky camouflaged males mimic the colors of the female. Number 5. There are 3 types of lizard, with their personality dependent on their throat color. Topping the hierarchy is the orange-throated lizard. They're the largest of all 3 and are the most dominant. Below the orange-throated lizard is the blue-throated lizard, who will willingly protect females from their yellow-throated counterparts, but run away once faced with an orange-throated male. While they are similar in size than orange-throated males, blue-throated males will team up and defend themselves from their yellow-throated and orange-throated enemies. The hierarchy is orange over blue, blue over yellow, and yellow over orange. This hierarchy safeguards the continuation of these lizards. Number 6. Thinking that a lady's...
Isn't that wild about the lizards? All the different moving parts of their society.
Spotted hyena is in fact a male one is an easy error. They both possess similar physiques, with both sexes also appearing to have visible male genitalia. To add to the similarities, the female's phallus hardens when she meets with fellow hyenas from her pack. Cleverly, the female hyena's penis is actually a large clitoris that enables the female hyena to pass urine, have sex through, and even give birth. Both sexes are similar when it comes to penis size, and despite her not actually possessing a penis, they tend to beat the males when it comes to battle of the sizes. This makes the females the more dominant sex. Males tend to worship females by caressing their faces against their front legs. Number 7. Midshipman fish are found along the North American coastline. They use photophores, which let out glimmers of light in order to attract their prey. In order to entice females, the males emit a hum. The humming noise is so incredibly loud that people have reported not being able to sleep, let alone have a normal voice conversation due to the sheer volume. However, there is one kind,
cool.
the sneaker males, that are silent. Midshipman males are known to flitter between genders. Thanks for watching another amazing video. Don't forget to subscribe for more.
All right. And the article that we just read was written by Phelan Fairchild, actor, filmmaker, LGBT+, and women's rights activist. Yep. All right, all copyrights reserved. What a fun little romp through the animal kingdom. I hope you all enjoyed that, because that was an interesting take. Now, do animals actually have genders as we see them? No, not really. They have their own social groupings that we don't necessarily understand. But for us to project our own onto those, depending on the species, might be flawed. Regardless, it does show that, within a species that have a binary reproduction, you still can have non-binary sexual and reproductive roles. So, whatevs. All right, so thank you so much for joining me in this little bit of strange science for Pride Month. Appreciate each and every one of you for showing up, and I will see you Wednesday night for Creation Watch, Friday night for CryptoCorner, and then we'll be back here Saturday morning, where you can join these fine folks over here in the side chat and participate with the Hive as we go through this stuff. I didn't pay enough attention to the side chat today, and I'm sorry about that. I just had a lot to make sure I got through. So I appreciate everybody for sticking with me, and thank you so much for being part of the community, and be kind, take care, and we'll see you next time. Let you keep you out here so everybody can get a good look at what to look for when you see a brown recluse. When you see a spider you think might be a brown recluse, you look for that little violin-shaped area on the front of the head. It may be darker or lighter, it may be the same color, but there's the shape there. Looks like this one.